everyone. Welcome back to our next episode of StarNotes. As you know, it is March, and among other things, March is March Madness, and that is a college basketball big tournament thing. And
Nice.
Basically, yes.
Basically, and the first 4 games are tonight, but they will have happened by the time this comes out, so they've already happened. But that's what we're talking about today.
Is. Would you like a fun March Madness fact that I looked up before
Please.
coming on this episode? The NCAA was not the first sports organization to use March Madness as a basketball tournament term. Do you know who used it first?
Equestrian.
No.
Damn.
Water
The
polo.
IHSA, the Illinois High School Association,
Really?
used the term
Interesting.
March Madness before the college people stole it
For basketball?
for basketball.
But they're
Yeah.
That's
but
interesting.
like
Yeah.
you're usually done playing by now. Illinois basketball.
But-
Well, this was a while ago.
Maybe not at the
This
time.
was, I don't
I
know.
don't know.
I forget when. I don't remember that much. I
Oh,
forget when
okay.
it was. But
Interesting. That's cool.
yeah, they were not the first to use the term.
That's so cool. Shout out Illinois, man.
Shout out Illinois.
We had March Madness before it was cool.
Seriously.
Well,
Yeah. We should do intros
We haven't
before we
done
get
intros.
too far.
That's what I was gonna ask.
So, I'm Olivia. I'm the assistant opinion editor here at the Star.
I am Anna. I'm the digital managing editor.
My name is Ethan. I am the sports editor here at the Star.
And I'm Lucas, and I'm the assistant sports editor at the Star.
Shout out. Thank you guys for having us again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
So would one of you sports people like to explain how March Madness works?
Yes. Lucas, go ahead.
Well, you can correct me if I get anything wrong.
Yeah, I
'cause
got
I'm
you.
not an expert by any means, but basically it's the playoffs for college basketball, the national playoffs. So 68 teams start out. There'll be the 4 games tonight that'll eliminate the first 4 to get it down to 64. So it's like an even bracket.
Mhm.
It's single elimination, so 1 loss, you're done. And it's colleges from all over, the conference winners of every conference in the NCAA. So, it's a big thing, really exciting. It's probably the most exciting basketball event, college or pro.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun, even if you don't like college. Like, I'm not a huge college basketball guy, at least not until I started writing about it. But, everyone follows March Madness a little bit, I feel like.
Yeah.
If you're into sports at all, it's a lot of fun.
Just to add to that, I'll say I don't really follow the college basketball season throughout the regular season, but once it comes March, man, everyone's locked in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So then to add to what you were talking about too, it's, you said 64 teams. It gets down to 64 after the first 4 games are played. If people aren't familiar with it, there are 64 teams, but there are 4 different regions that they play in, and each team is ranked 1 through 16 depending on what region they're at. So it's not like 1 through 64. That would just be too crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously single elimination, and then eventually 2 teams make it to the national championship, and that's where they play. Each team, like the winning team of each bracket, will meet each other at some point. So yeah, and like you said, biggest basketball event in the country, I think, of the year, and this clears the NBA Finals. I'm a big NBA guy, but like March Madness is just something else for everyone. So
Actually, again, before coming on this episode, I did some research into the history of March Madness. That's where I got the fun little Illinois fact.
cool.
It started off only with 8 teams total
Wow.
in the bracket.
Wow.
It was very small, very regulated, and that started to piss people off later on in our lovely little story. But it started off really small. 1939 is when they did their first national
Nice.
tournament type thing. Only 8 teams were in it. It was far from the dramatic commercialized thing it is right now.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't people all over the country filling up brackets trying to guess who's going to get what. And it stayed pretty small. It wasn't very televised, much at all, until there was a regular season game in the, I think it was either the late 60s or early 70s. I can't remember off the top of my head, where there was a matchup between UCLA and the University of Houston, which were 2 really big powerhouse teams at the time, and a lot of people showed up at the game. It was televised a lot of places. It was one of the most watched basketball games.
Wow.
At the point in history. It's 1968 is what the the Organization of American Historians say it was in 1968, citing my sources. And people like saw that, and the television networks were like, we can make money off of this. So then that's when college basketball, specifically the March Madness tournament, they're like, okay, we can do something with this.
Like
and
make
that's
this bigger.
Yeah, and that's where the I believe in the research I did, that's sort of where the commercialization of it started. There was not to the full force, because how it works right now is there's not like a specific limit on the number of teams from each division that can enter the bracket. It's sort of, there's other, I don't know the factors that do it, but there's other factors that do it. It's not based off, oh, you've reached your limit of 2.
Yeah.
Sorry. There was, in the 1973 to 1974 season, 2 really, really, really good teams, Indiana University and the University of Southern California, did not qualify for the tournament, but they were in second place in their respective conferences. And that a lot of people off, and a lot of people were angry, and a lot of other teams, things were happening, and people were angry, and it wasn't great. And then people decided, okay, hey, we're going to still allow only 2 teams, but it doesn't have to necessarily be the runner-up of the full division. It can be someone else who's good. They started to loosen their rules a little bit, and then at some point, a couple years down the line, they let more teams from each division go into it. And as more and more teams got into the brackets, it became more and more popular among different schools across the country. It became more and more of a thing. And that's why we have the CBS brackets and all of the filling it out and the competitions and the betting and all of that. That's sort of when it started to explode more so, is after the limits and more teams got pushed into it.
Right.
But yeah, 68 is when it started, basketball, specifically college basketball, started to be super televised.
Wow. I was a whole history lesson. I had no idea. That was cool.
I didn't know any of that.
That was so cool. I didn't know any of that.
Yeah, it's your cool little history, my history minor coming into use.
That's right. You summarized that so well too. It was like,
Thank you.
Yeah.
I try.
So one thing that I'm always confused about, and you kind of mentioned this too, like I don't know what the exact like stipulations are to make the tournament if you don't win your conference, because it's not always 1 and 2 going, but sometimes teams make it even though they lost their tournament, like their conference tournament, or they didn't do well in their conference tournament at all. Like how do they pick? Do you know how this works?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's like football has like the committee that picks, who goes to bowl games and stuff. To my knowledge, it's like that, where I'm assuming they have some kind of formula, but I don't know if it's really an exact science or not.
Yeah.
I imagine popularity probably plays into it as well, because it's a business. They're trying to get people to watch. But yeah, I was trying to find that earlier, because up until I started covering college sports, I didn't understand how any of it worked, because I didn't grow up with it. But yeah, I'm not entirely clear on how it works. All I know is that if you win your conference, that you're guaranteed. I think as far as after the conference winners, I think it's up to the committee.
So basically, everyone gets selected on what they call Selection Sunday, which is the Sunday before everything starts going down. There's a 12-person selection committee that decides who's going to be in the tournament. There's 68 teams that are making the tournament this year, including the 8 teams that have to play in the first 4 games, whatever first 4 games is. The first and the 4 are capitalized.
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
So that's like a play-in tournament. So they say there's 68 teams because, like you said, there's 8 teams playing that first 4 games. Basically means first 4 in, first 4 out. They play to get into the 64. That's what those games are today.
Okay.
Right? So there's 2 of them? Or there's 4 of them?
There's 4 of them.
There's 4 of them.
There's 4.
Yeah.
4.
I'm doing my math wrong. But yes.
4 teams playing each other.
Yes.
At the same.
It's like a court that's like a cross. And
That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
But whoever wins those games makes it into the actual tournament. They basically just have to play an extra game to get in, and then, yeah.
So it looks like the winners of the 32 conference tournaments automatically go in. And then there's the remaining 36 spots that are bids determined by the committee.
And you're telling me not a single one of those 36 was NIU?
Yeah, well, there's a reason for that.
We didn't even make our conference playoff.
Yeah.
And 2/3 of the teams make it.
Yeah. Honestly. Dude, yeah. My God. But anyway, I think my theory is...
okay, there's a couple things that they... What's your theory
Yeah,
as to what they
go
do?
with your theory
Sure.
And then
first.
we'll tell you how correct you are.
Oh, sick. Yeah, that's a great segment, I think. So I know, well, like you guys said, there's a committee. I figured that. But I think that they also decide, like, they look at your record and they also look at strength of wins that you've had. That's my theory. Like, if you beat a ranked opponent, maybe you get a higher bid than other teams. Your strength of schedule in general, and what conference you play in. I think that goes into it as well. So, what do you think? Is that right?
Kind of. It says there are several different. I'm not gonna plagiarize. We're not plagiarizing.
No, that's SparkNotes.
Read
That's
exactly.
a different show.
It's a different notes.
Different
Different
note.
kind of notes. There's a couple things they look at: record, strength of schedule. There's this thing called the net ranking that they use. NET, all capitalized. It looks like it's an acronym for something. I have no idea what it's an acronym for.
No, it doesn't say.
It looks at a team's record and resume, and then ranks all of the teams in Division One.
Okay.
And they pick the top whatever from that, I guess. Games are divided into 4 quadrants, and a team's quadrant record depends on who they're playing, where they're playing. Is it a home game? Is it an away game? What's going on? I don't know what that means.
I'm
Do
assuming
either
it's
of you
like
know what that means?
Say it one more time.
Quadrant 1 is home 1 to 30, neutral 1 to 50, and away 1 to 75.
Wait,
That
so
doesn't
home
make
was
sense.
1 to 30, you said? And then it just
It
goes
says
up.
home 1 to 30, neutral 1 to 50, away 1 to 75.
I think that's the range of, like, how many points you could get per win at that place. Right?
Okay.
Like, if you win at home, it's easier to win at home than it is away.
Okay.
And it's
Okay.
easier to win
Yep.
at neutral than it is to win at away.
Quadrant 2 is 31 to 75, and basically there's all sorts of ranges in each of the quadrants.
Okay.
The more
Okay.
quadrant 1 wins you have, the better chance you are to be selected in the tournament.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So if all of your wins are
Oh.
just in quadrant 4, not as great as a team that has all in quadrant 1. A team might have more overall wins, but they all might be quadrant 4 wins, versus a team that has less wins, but they're all quadrant 1 wins. Those, I guess, are weighted more heavily. And it's basically all of the Division 1 teams just sort of you can picture of it as they get thrown into like a hat.
Right.
And they just take them all out and rank them out and look at them. It doesn't matter what conference they're from. There's no limits here as to what conference they're from. You could have 8 teams from one conference if that's a
Gotcha.
thing that
Interesting.
happened. There's
Now-
no limits there.
My question then, too, is what makes, like, if you're playing an away game, say, against, like, Indiana, IU, the Hoosiers, like, what makes that one, like, obviously the range is 1 through 75. What makes that game, like, a 70 versus playing against a team like Georgia, a 60? You know what I mean? Points. I don't know. I wonder if there's, like, a specific system for that, too. I don't know. I don't expect you to answer that.
There's
But
probably a lot of different systems, but that's sort of the general gist of things. And
Gotcha.
it seems like it might be weighted on what team you're playing. So, like,
Right.
let's say if you're playing Indiana versus if you beat NIU, that means a lot less than if you beat Illinois
Yeah.
or something
Okay.
like that. So
Gotcha.
that's a part of it. And then after that, they determine the seeds. How they do that is they just rank everybody 1 through 68. Every 4 teams are evaluated in the same seed line.
Okay.
So you have 1 through 4 is the number 1, 5 through 8 is the number 2,
Oh.
and then they put them in
Wow.
the spots.
That makes
That is
way more sense.
Makes a lot of sense, yes. It, like, putting it together, okay.
And so then they figure out the regional locations that make sense. So it's like you might be playing, there might be people from like different conferences and like different whatever, but
Yeah.
like it sort of makes sense, I
Yeah,
guess.
It's weird because, like, they have, like, Illinois playing in, like, the East Division or something like that. I don't know if that's actually correct.
Yeah,
but
but that's,
I think it.
that makes, like, this is so insightful now because I've always wondered these questions. So thank you for looking those up, Anna.
And it is East.
It's East. Okay, they
Yeah.
are playing in the East?
They are playing in East.
So, yeah, and usually that means, like, I know, like, the West Division, they're playing in Vegas. East, I think, I don't even know. It could be Charlotte or something like
I
North
don't know.
Carolina. But, like, yeah, that's where they're playing. Not necessarily where they're from, where they're playing. So, like you said.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good
What
stuff.
are your guys' thoughts and experiences with March Madness? I know my family does a crazy bracket thing. There's no big prize for winning. You get bragging rights for the whole year, and you like get to pick where. And like in my like immediate family, whoever scores the highest in the big family bracket, we get to like pick where we want to go for dinner one night.
That's
like when we
cool.
were kids,
Yeah.
that was the best reward ever. But yeah, so we always do that. My family is crazy college basketball, college football. They're insane. they're nuts, and so we do it every year. Everyone has a good time.
That sounds fun, though.
But I don't really watch basketball. My brackets are based off of the vibes. Usually they're wrong. That's how it goes.
The vibes and
But
friendship.
That's my experience.
Friendship.
What about you guys?
My family will do one, which is like my immediate family, and my sister keeps track of it. So the second after I make my bracket, I completely forget everything that I've done, and like every round, she'll like tell us kind of where we're at. We get bragging rights, but I don't know anything, so it depends what I pick it off. Sometimes it's like, whose like college name is longer? It's like, which mascot do I like better?
Yeah.
And so this year we settled on Oregon.
Nice, because
Yeah.
of ducks.
Yeah.
Or, nice. I respect that. No,
Thank you.
and they have a really cute mascot too. I forget his name.
Oh,
I don't know. I just know it's a duck.
I'll tell you too. Also, Oregon has the dopest jerseys because the Nike headquarters is in
Mhm.
Oregon,
Oh.
and they sponsor all their jerseys. And someone made a really funny joke that they have more jersey combinations than national championship wins. Which is absolutely true because they always choke in football and basketball. But that's funny.
Yeah.
I respect it. So that's your national
Okay.
champion.
Yeah.
'Kay.
It comes down to them and UConn.
Them in UConn because
Mhm.
the Huskies go skis.
Yeah.
Is that why too?
Kind of.
Okay. No, that's dope. I don't blame them for doing that because that's a fun way to do it for sure. But in my experience, I played a few times where it's just for bragging rights and some are just for money. Not just for money, for money. And
Only if you're over 21. Betting.
only if you're over 21. Well, I mean, it's more like with my friends. Like we would
Oh,
just be
okay.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
whoever wins gets the most money. But if you're sports betting, be 21.
Mhm.
But basically, we just do it for fun. It's super cool. But I always end up getting sad because someone gets upset really early. Purdue. So, Purdue, you're probably going to do it again to me this year. So.
What about you?
Yeah, for me, I honestly didn't start filling out brackets until like a few years ago, and it was just one of those things where because I didn't pay attention, and it's like a couple weeks into March, I would think of it at the beginning like, oh, I could do that, but then by the time it started, I totally forgot about it. But more recently, my brother usually like has a group. I never do it for money, but he'll invite like me and like some of his wife's family and some other friends that he knows. Like he always does fantasy football leagues, so usually anybody who's in that, he'll ask if they want to fill out a bracket and stuff. So with them or just other groups of friends, I'll fill it out. And honestly, because I don't know enough about any of the teams, I'm kind of just going off of the tiny bit of knowledge I have about like the teams that are historically good. So like my Final Four is a bunch of teams that historically are really good teams because those stand out because I hear about them doing well, when I'm following the news or whatever. So like I have Kansas winning because I know they're, historically they've been in the Final Four more than most teams. They have a handful of championships and stuff like that. So, like, I mostly just base it off of, like, a little bit of my knowledge and then, like, some, regional schools that are closer to here I usually favor a little bit, especially a team like Wisconsin. My brother actually works at the University of Wisconsin, so it's like
That's
I
cool.
have them going a little further than some other people probably do. So it's like, it honestly is the vibes more than anything
Yeah.
else. Like, so just it's more of a feeling thing, and I could go and do a lot of research, but I'm gonna end up being wrong anyway. So I might as well
Real.
just do what I feel.
Yeah, I mean, filling out the brackets this year, I was like looking at little previews of like matchups. It's not gonna mean anything.
Yeah.
Like,
No.
it won't mean much. But
Any final thoughts on March Madness? Brackets?
no, but I mean, if we want to, can we like go over really quick who our national champion?
Yeah.
Because I know
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
said yours, and I don't know if we're doing a separate segment for it, but real quick,
Let's just do it right
Yeah.
now.
who's yours, Anna?
Well, we haven't done mine.
Oh,
so
that's right.
We're going to be doing that in part 2 of this episode, which is an all-star StarNotes crossover. So stay tuned for that. I will link it up in the cards.
So we'll do that soon.
So
Ethan, who do
yeah. So I have a half serious but more joking, but still kind of pretty serious. Illinois winning it just because I love them so much. I love that team. I actually shout out NIU. I love NIU, but I wanted to go to U of I, and it's a great school. So anyway, they got a great program down there. I think they have what it takes on paper, but they are coached by this guy named Brad Underwood, who always loses in the tournament. So we'll see. But I see them beating teams like Auburn and UNC to get there. So kind of bold, but I'm going to go with it.
Yeah.
Lucario.
Yeah, I mentioned before I have Kansas, and it was honestly a toss-up because like I said, I have my Final Four is like I have UConn in there because they've had a lot of success like in the last 25 years or whatever. It feels like they're in it all the time. I have Kentucky, North Carolina. So I had a lot of schools that just like they get there a lot because I'm a big believer in like if the people at the top know what they're doing and have the track record for success, I think that just makes a huge difference because
True.
I think there's another level of confidence. I think they typically have a lot of fan support in the tournament, and there's just an energy to it, I feel like. So
the vibes, no?
Yeah.
It really is the vibes, you know? And as far as picking Kansas, it was more of just, again, it was more of a feeling thing. Like, they aren't quite as successful as a couple of the other options, but it was just like a feeling like, you know, they're right in that group all the time. They make it in the Final Four all the time. Like, it was a feeling thing. I think all those 4 teams have a shot and kind of a toss-up, but I think Kansas has a shot, so.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you picked the Ducks again because...
Here, hold on. I'll give you my Final Four.
All right.
Okay, the system, like, as I got a little bit, like, less, like, based. Okay, UConn, because Huskies, and I hear their name a lot. There was a girl from, like, a Wisconsin team who was going to go there, so I was like, you know, put them in there. And then I have Arizona.
Nice.
I have Arizona.
Wait. So you have UConn?
UConn?
Yes.
And then Arizona, because my family is taking a trip to Arizona soon.
No, nice.
And then I have Houston, because they're number 1, and I heard a lot about them.
Mhm.
And then I have Oregon, because Ducks. And then
Just straight up.
Real. And then I have UConn, and then Oregon, and then Oregon.
Okay. I mean,
So-
that's actually other than like Oregon, honestly, I wouldn't question any of that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But I can't even question Oregon because
Well-
anything can happen, really. Like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, this is March, man. This is March Madness. It's madness.
It
so
is. It's anything like last season. It doesn't matter what I do. It's going to be,
exactly.
yeah.
I don't even. What seed was UConn last year? They won it. They're like 5 or
I don't
something, right?
know.
Yeah, I don't remember.
But like SDSU, Miami, and then FAU were in there too. Like we
Yeah.
just discussed, and that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So.
I did put Purdue out in the first round because my family calls them Perdon't. And
Purdue.
it's probably my favorite thing ever.
Yeah.
That's a great name for him because
It
it's
is.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have him out in run 2 because I had him winning in one of my brackets last year, and I think I had him far in the year before that, and I'm done.
Yeah, like
you gotta
what?
stop putting your faith in them.
I've been hurt too many times.
Well, because last year they lost to 16, Fairleigh Dickinson or something? I think,
Yeah.
I think that was her
something.
name. Did you keep up with that, Anna? Did you see that?
A little bit, yeah. I don't remember much
Okay.
because I have other things to focus on other
Of
than
course.
basketball things.
Of course.
I'm not a big basketball person.
Yeah.
But I did hear people talk about the things.
Okay.
So like I'm like I know this name. Like I know what's going on here. It's very exciting.
It is. It really is.
I'm pretty sure, if I remember right, I did just like a little competition thing with my fiance and her family, and her brother, who knows nothing about basketball and is purely basing it off of the school names. I'm pretty sure he picked them to beat Purdue, just like out of nowhere. And we're like, there's no way that's happening. And then it did. And I think he picked some other, it was like a 13 seed that went pretty far. Like he picked them to go like to the Final Four or something. Like I think he had like the best bracket out of any of us. And he just picked the most ridiculous upsets that nobody saw coming.
And that happens
I know.
so much.
Yeah.
I remember, like, when I was in high school, like, I don't know if you guys remember this too, but, like, everyone would have it on their Chromebooks, like, set up, or their phones, like, looking down during class. Like, they're so obviously watching March Madness, right? And I remember in my AP class, AP US History,
Love that. Love
Great
that.
class.
all of the girls in there were just like, oh, yeah, I'm going to pick this one because of the mascot name, because, like, this one's nice. And they ended up having the best brackets.
See?
Like,
It works.
It is perfectly
works.
scientific.
Yes, apparently. My goodness.
Well, on that note, that concludes this episode of Spark Notes.
No, StarNotes.
StarNotes, not
Not
Spark
Spark
Notes.
Notes.
Pardon me, we're not
Our
Spark
bad.
Notes. This concludes this episode of
Concludes.
StarNotes, and we will see you guys in our crossover episode.
Yes, Erskine.